Okay, one of the most common things that a marketing researcher may need information on is the potential size of a market, whether it's at a nation level or a product level or some mix between those things. And we do have access to a database that provides some of that information. It is the Global Market Information Database, or GMID, and I'm at the Marketing Library Research Note website. There's a hyperlink on your assignment that takes you to this, and I'm going to click on the GMID database here. If you're at home, you might have to log in using your student password, accept the terms and conditions. Now, how the Global Market Information Database is set up is it has a lot of different information about particular industries and by particular countries and types of consumers. So, to be honest, this database, although it has lots of information, it can be a bit overwhelming, and the way the information is organized isn't always intuitive to the type of research question you're trying to answer. So there really is a lot to be said for just spending a little bit of time playing around with the categories and exploring what's inside of the GMID. To give you an idea of how it works, let's continue on with our tobacco metaphor here, and let's search industry. Let's search tobacco, although there's also a hyperlink up here. Similarly, you'll find tobacco. Click either. You have to wait a little bit to let GMID think a lot of times. So let's let's drill down even deeper. Let's learn about cigarettes. And you can even drill even further into types of cigarettes, but let's just search cigarettes in general. Okay, and now what you'll see here is a sort of a drill down search menu. It opens up the tobacco and cigarettes. Let's check that. Over here on our right hand side, we see now we have the category cigarettes selected. We could go back and select others as well if we were interested. Hit next. Now we can also sort these this data we're going to pull up about cigarettes by particular nations. So first of all let's check world. That means we'll get a overall world geography picture. In Asia Pacific, let's take a look at China. Notoriously high rates of smoking amongst men. Let's look in North America. Let's check out ourselves. USA. And in Western Europe, let's look at France. Check out France. Alright, so we're going to run this search. We have them right here on the side. Run the search. It's going to give some information. We can actually just click this View All Statistics button here to sort of get at the primary data. We can also run some reports. This is country fact files. These might be useful if you're looking at individual countries. And then there's also an aggregation of news articles about tobacco in general, which might be very interesting or useful if you're doing work. But I want to show you the data, the sorted data that it brings to you. So let's click View All Statistics. And here's what we get. First, we have a left-handed panel that lets us really organize and tailor our tabulated results to the way we want them. Right now, the default organization is you have the countries or regions you selected by year on in the columns. You can export this data into Excel. You could even click these little buttons here to turn this into a sort of chart. I generally prefer to export the data that I want to Excel and then make my own charts, but whatever works for you. Okay, so we have our results right now, but right now it's in retail volume, number of units. We might want to actually look at retail value. So if we go to statistics types here, click on market sizes. It happens to show up here in the cigarettes category. It's not available in all product categories. We can click on unit price here and actually click the button return to actual. So now we're actually looking at the retail value of the cigarette markets in millions. Well, actually not in millions. Right now we have it all in local currencies. So let's do currency conversion up here and set all of these values to the year-on-year rates of the US dollar. That gives us a better picture that we can compare. And we can even blow out and look even further back and even look a little bit into the future. GMID has a sort of, not extremely robust, but it has a bit of a forecasting engine it uses. So we can select here by year, add in 2003, 2002, 2001, 2000, add in some future years, add that. Looks pretty good. So we see some explosive market growth in China for cigarettes, sort of an even incremental growth for the US, and similar sort of growth pattern for France. Now, not all categories have things like this, but the cigarettes category actually has some even more interesting information that we might want to look at here. They actually have a category called smoking prevalence. This is sort of a bonus category just for the cigarettes market. And other product categories have things like this, sort of additional information that's unique just to that. So let's click on smoking prevalence and see what we see here. We see the rate of cigarette smokers in the adult population by country. So we see here in the U.S. There's about a 16% according to this data from 2004 to 2009. Men and women smoke at a somewhat similar clip, although men smoke a bit more. We see humongous disparity here in China. Almost half the men are smokers, while only about 3% and dropping are female smokers. France, we see a bit more equality, although men are definitely more likely to be smokers and more than the U.S. overall. So it tells us a little bit about the actual behavior pattern of consumers in those nations. And again, you don't always see that type of data, but it's here in this case. So very useful. And again, we could export this data in Excel if we were inclined to do so. Sure enough, there it is, ready to be organized, manipulated, and sorted and made to look beautiful for you. Okay, so that's the basics of how a GMID works. Again, I want to emphasize the importance of playing around with the different time series categories and different search headers, because things aren't always exactly where you think they might be. But as long as you understand the basic premise of getting to the search field, pulling up the left-hand column, left-hand bar here to sort and organize your data, pull what you want, you're off to a great start.